أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله.
There is no God but God, and Muhammad is his prophet. 5 times a day from mosques and minarets all over the Muslim world, that call goes out from a muezzin calling the faithful to prayer. And a good Muslim will answer these calls because it's an essential part of his religion, a demanding religion which is spread from the Middle East to Europe, to Africa, to Asia, even to America. But prayer itself is just one outward observance of this religion, of Islam. There are others, many others, because Islam doesn't just mold men's minds. It dictates their way of life. It tells them not just when and how to pray, but how to decorate their houses, how to treat their wives, what to say when they sneeze, how they must butcher their sheep, how much of their property their sons will inherit, how to trim their beards and seal their letters, where to carry their handkerchiefs, and the color of their shrouds. But here in Turkey, once called the Sword of Islam, here in Istanbul, with the minarets of its 500 mosques piercing the sky, here all the traditions of a great faith were trampled on by one man trying to drag his nation into the Western world of the 20th century by the seat of its baggy Turkish breeches. Mustafa Kemal was the man who changed all that. Kemal, who called himself Ataturk, the father of the Turks, was the soldier who led his country's revolution and proclaimed Turkey a republic after the First World War. Ataturk wanted no religious censor to strangle the great rush forward into the 1920s, no petrifying theologians to halt progress. Of all his revolutionary decrees, and there were many of them, his destruction of the caliphate was his most heretical action. It was like deposing the Pope or the Archbishop of Canterbury. But he did it. And he got away with it by the sheer force of his own magnetic personality. He did it, but it wasn't easy. Ataturk did away with Arabic, the holy language, so that it only existed on ancient monuments. He banned all the trappings of Islam. The fez had to be replaced by the Western hat, so that its wide brim would prevent men laying their foreheads on the floor while prostrating themselves towards Mecca. He made them wear lounge suits instead of flowing robes. He removed the veils which covered the faces of modest Muslim women. He made them have civil marriage ceremonies. Ataturk's decrees became the new Quran in Turkey. They replaced the old teachings which for generations had governed men's births and lives and deaths. But even an Ataturk, great national hero and liberator though he was, even an Ataturk couldn't kill the inner spirit of Islam. So Islam bided its time. And in 1938, when Ataturk died, the imams felt it was safe perhaps to begin just a cautious revival. Quiet backsliding to the ways of the faith continued until 1950, when Adnan Menderes was elected prime minister and was forced to make good electoral promises made to the peasants who wanted more faith and less freedom. The voice of Islam became more imperious. The Menderes Democratic Party bowed to the Orthodox. For the first time since Kemal's revolution, mosques were built again with public money. Pilgrims were allowed to set out once more for Mecca, Islam's holiest place. Religious programs are broadcast on Ankara radio. There's even a theological faculty in Istanbul, and in remote areas there are villagers hardy enough to wear the turban. Hardly anyone wears the hat that Ataturk urged on them. They temporize with a cap, which they can turn back to front while praying so that the peak doesn't prevent their foreheads from touching the ground. And older women are clamping the veil tighter around their faces. In Ataturk's day, the muezzin had to proclaim the esan, the call to prayer, in Turkish. Now, once again, he sings it out in Arabic, the language of the Prophet. Menderes himself paid dear for his concessions, for his adulteration of the pure milk of Kemalism. When the army revolted in 1960, they had him tried for corruption and hanged him. In October this year, Turkey will have another general election, and the Justice Party, the heirs to the Menderes doctrine, are heavily backed to win it. There's certainly a revival of Islam in Turkey today, and some of these mosques have congregations which many a Church of England clergyman might well envy. What Ataturk tried to destroy with his codes and his decrees is apparently indestructible, and certainly there are almost daily inroads being made into his policy of official agnosticism. But it remains to be seen whether a new government in a westward-looking Turkey will be prepared to allow the ancient faith to regain the power that it once had.